offer the best grooming products for you. Dress all natural and handcrafted too. We wanna help be your swagger, your style, class, and luxury. We make our products tailor-made for you with high quality. Yeah. So get in style with the black, yeah. Grooming company. To give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah. The black gentleman, yeah. Company. To give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah.
Located at www.theblackgent.com.
Y'all know what it is. It's the Find the Boxer game. Purchase a box for a chance at winning $500. One of 54 boxes has a missing boxer inside. Purchase your box or boxes by Cash Apping, $, usual 50/50. Include your box number, name, and email address. Your box number will be confirmed and sent directly to your email. Each box is $20, with a 1 in 54 chance of winning. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
it's a usual suspect day.
Y'all know what it is. It's the usual suspect 650-50 draw. Buy your tickets now for your chance at winning half the pot. Cash App, $, usual 50/50. Tickets are on sale for $10 for one, $20 for 3 tickets, and $50 for 10 tickets. Put your desired amount, name or alias, as well as your email address, and your tickets will be set. We announce the winning ticket numbers every other Friday on Supreme Beats Boxing Talk Bullshit on the Beltway, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
it's a usual suspect day.
Yo. What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to Stormybman's Boxing Raps for this Thursday, January 30th, 2025. We're calling this one The Tale of the Two Davids. We're going to do a little bit of a conversation leading into this big fight weekend, talking about the matches and matchups that this great card will bring. It doesn't necessarily mean that the bouts will be great, but we're hopeful. Quality matchups all the way around. Amazon Prime pay-per-view. David Benavidez in the main event taking on David Morrell. One of these men is going to move forward and be a possible challenger for the winner of Beterbiev Bivol 2, which will be coming up in a couple of weeks after this fight on the 22nd of February. Boxing is in a great place, regardless of what many people think. It's just that there are culprits and participants in the sport who are assisting in trying to continue to make boxing drag its feet. However, enough of that, because these two men, Morrell, Benavidez, guys who are entering a prime, do not have to be facing one another at this particular time. But when you have someone who has squandered opportunity and delayed and put off, such as the super middleweight unified champion Saul Canelo Alvarez has done, these two men have opted to just move forward with their careers, knowing that the date with Canelo may never come. And that's only because he's afraid of someone embarrassing him, and he thinks for the money that he has accrued that he can walk to his own tune. But thank goodness that the sport is really turning a huge corner and getting away from these prima donnas. We're getting back into quality matchups of the best fighting the best, and they will be properly compensated for such. But these pretenders, man, the guys who have been placeholders, their day is done. Let's just say it that way. Their day is done. So we now have one of the year's biggest cards coming up this Saturday with these two men. And it's something to look forward to, because it could be little or nothing, but I do believe it will turn out to be something. So, salute to you guys out there. Smash the like button as you come in. I know that we've got people elsewhere doing other things, and why is it no surprise? But here it is. But I've talked about these type of things before. And believe me, when I say what I say, it's why I say it. Because when the support is not there, it's not there. And you can get mad. You can put on your little frowns. You can even do your little gossips behind the back. But I'm right here, and I'm out front. And as I've said before, the support is not there. But it'll never stop me from doing what I do. Because my calling, the purpose that I serve, is greater than anyone else can imagine. And I know where my place and my stake is. David Benavidez, 28 years of age, 6'2", orthodox fighter with a 74.5-inch reach, fighting out of Vegas, but originally from Phoenix. His record of 29-0 with 24 KOs sees him entering this bout against Morrell as a former two-time champion from the 168-pound division super middleweight, though he never lost the titles in a fight. He has been stripped of his title twice for different reasons. His last 3 fights have been significant enough against a virtual who's who. His last fight against Gavaskic was in June of 2024, and it saw him step up to the light heavyweight division for the first time in his professional career. He and Gavaskic shared many rounds of sparring over 7 to 8 years ago. So they were familiar when they entered their fight. Benavidez has stated that he had entered that fight with injuries and decided to push through. Voskic spoke about Benavidez being dominant in their sparring. Very interesting. David won a 12-round unanimous decision, but at no point did he look like his nickname, the Monster. He offers that it was due to the injuries he suffered, and it could possibly be so. But his last 3 fights, going back, Voskic, and in November of 2023, Demetrius Andrade. Now, we know that Andrade had been a fighter and champion from the 154-pound division and later the 160-pound division. He had moved up to challenge David and found himself in with a guy who, according to Andrade, was just too big. Going back to March of 2023, Caleb Plant was the challenge for Benavidez. And in a tough, hard-fought bout, 12-round decision unanimously for Benavidez once again. The lead up to that fight was quite interesting as the two traded barbs back and forth out of disrespect and disregard. And Plant, though he has been known to be a fighter that boxes well, just could not keep the stalking and ever pressuring Benavidez off of his case. And as he grew weary in the later rounds, it became a hug fest holding by Caleb to try to survive the rounds. No point deductions and no fouls by Benavidez, interestingly, because he could have easily stooped to doing some things that were unsavory, but that's where he found himself. But he also found himself the victor. So tomorrow is the weigh-in, and Saturday will be the day that he faces Morel. Now, the Cuban fighter Morel, living in his adopted town of Minneapolis, Minnesota, like the purple one, 6'1" with a 78.5-inch reach, a southpaw boxer who enters this bout with a record of 11-0 and 9 KOs. Quite an interesting fighter because though athletically gifted, Morel is a very strong light heavyweight. He can box, he can punch, he can move on his feet, but he likes to go forward. his last 3 fights have seen him take on the likes of Radijove Kalajic. And in that fight, it was his first step up to light heavyweight division after being the WBO champion at super middleweight. He didn't have his usual pressuring KO type victory, as Kalajic looked to survive, especially after being stunned in the early rounds by a shot by Morrell. What I found interesting, though, is that Morrell never got discouraged. He just continued to fight and box. And Radovic never tried to win the fight. Though I had watched him in some bouts prior, he showed a propensity to throw combinations, be a fierce body puncher, and really go after his opponents. He showed none of that zest for success against Morrell. Prior to that was a December 2023 fight against Sina Agbeko. And that was a 2-round destruction of Agbeko. You know, the way that Morrell handled him, he was too big, too strong. 6 foot tall and with a 74.5-inch reach was Agbeko, fighting out of Ghana. Morrell hunted him down. He's a 31-year-old fighter, and Morrell was just 25 when they faced off. He did well. It was interesting to see. I enjoyed that fight, not because Agbeko got stopped, but it was the way that Morrell went after him. Interestingly, he stated that he's going to go after Benavidez, and it's going to be interesting if he can get that done. 2 men who are forward-facing fighters. It should be like 2 rams with their antlers crossing up. We'll see. We will see. Prior to that was April 2023 against Yamaguchi Falcao, and a 1-round destruction of him. Morrell went through that guy like a hot knife through butter. And it's interesting because he and Benavidez get the same results out of their matches, primarily. So someone's going to have to make an adjustment here. My breakdown video on the fight premieres tomorrow morning, but since I produced that video, I've had a change of heart in my selection of whom I think will be the victor. But I'll leave the video as it is, because when I produced it, which was a couple of weeks back, it's the way I saw the bout going forward. And I like to try to do it without all the hype and hoopla, which is why I produced most of the videos this week a couple of weeks ago. The uploads were already ready. And of course, in the event that something changes, just like when Inoue, original opponent, fell out, Sam Goodman, and it changed to Yi Jun Kim, I had the Inoue Goodman video all ready to go, and I had to produce a new video with Inoue facing Kim. So, you know, I'm always prepared to do something like that, but for the most part, I don't usually change my thought process as I get closer to the event. But I enjoy being able to see things at a greater depth going forward. The last three opponents of each man have varied in levels of competition. Benavidez has undoubtedly faced the stiffer opposition, but that does not mean that Morrell would have gotten the same result. Looking at how he performs in the ring, and if you ask me, I would believe that opponents would be more hesitant to go in against Morrell than they would Benavidez. It's very interesting to see when guys have a full package. Morrell is that guy between these two fighters, but Benavidez has strong points that kind of cover the fact that he's not a complete fighter. And that's where you really have to pay attention, because going into such a significant fight, his greatest strengths may not be the best of advantage against this particular opponent. I really like the fact that these guys are fighting like this, because it reminds me like when Roy Jones and James Toney fought. They were two prime aged fighters facing one another at the peak of their powers and strengths. The only difference in it, and we're talking about levels of the fighters and competitiveness in the sport, but the only difference was James Toney was caught at a point between bouts where he would put on excessive weight, and Roy Jones knew that and took advantage. I don't blame him, but you can ask Roy to this day why he did not take a second fight with James Toney, and he would clearly tell you James Toney was the best fighter that he ever fought. So with these two guys being in that type of realm, I believe more than most of the other fights that have happened up to this point, this may be about where ring IQ comes into place more for one guy than it has in any other fight in their career. You see, these two men, either of them facing Canelo, wouldn't have to worry about ring IQ. It could be a physical match, and they could rely upon their abilities, but against one another, the physicality factor has to be put to the side, and an acknowledgement of the ability to make adjustments. Yeah. Make adjustments. And then when you recognize that the opponent has made an adjustment, you have to adjust to that adjustment. Yeah. I do believe one is greater at that in that department than the other. I once listened to Evander Holyfield talking about guys of similar skill sets, talent and ability, power, speed, footwork. He said you can have fighters like that and you can go like into the 5th, 6th, 7th round with all of those points being primarily equal between the combatants, but skills and all of that go out of the window and it becomes a face-off of will, desire, intellect, ring smarts. And I agree with that totally. And sometimes a fighter can impress upon another. He's just not going to allow you to do what you're comfortable doing. And when you're not comfortable, it's difficult to think clearly. When you can't think clearly, it becomes a thing of what else is there? Intestinal fortitude, the intangibles. A lot of fighters in today's time are not asked to look within. So many of them have been matched up where just their talent has been enough. Just their ability to punch hard or to punch fast or to punch in volume or to pressure a lot has been significant enough. I remember when Shakur Stevenson was still fighting at junior lightweight, and I was talking about he needing fighters who could challenge him in ways that we could find out exactly what type of fighter he is. And the thing that's funny about that is he hasn't fought the guys who could do that. Primarily, he's fought mostly guys that he can control the bout and dictate, but no one who has made him come out outside of that shell. And we don't even know if he can take a really solid punch because his defense against the opponents he's fought, no one has gone for broke against him. Guys have been tamed and have fought and stayed behind a certain line of discipline. Where are the Marcus Madonas and those type of guys who could like show you something? Someone who will go for broke. Ask questions of a fighter that he's never had asked before. The one thing about Benavidez taking on Vasquez is Vasquez was 40 years old. Morrell is his age, which means that he's fresher, has probably a greater gas tank, and believes in his own abilities every bit as David Benavidez believes in his. And what happens if Morrell hits him with something that he's yet to taste from his opponents? Remember, they're at a higher weight than 168 now. They're at 175. And if you look at their bodies, you could see that Morrell carries that 175 a lot better than Benavidez. There's something to be seen here. There's not enough people talking about it. I mean, we've had a couple people over the past day or so, but if you really profess to love the sport of boxing, why isn't this higher on your radar? I'm very disappointed this evening, you guys, because I should have had a greater sense of networking. But as I said earlier, people are more inclined to just sit up and be bullshitting. And I take offense to that because I put my all in there. The undercard of this event the co-main event is Brandon Figueroa taking on Stephen Fulton in a featherweight bout that saw these two men last face one another a few years ago at Super Bantam. Fulton was able to win. I believe it was a split decision, a majority decision. When some people thought that Figueroa won the fight, but I think something has really changed when it comes down to these two fighters. Brandon has gone on and had some amazing victories. Carlos Castro, Mark Maxeyo, Jesse Magdaleno. Whereas Fulton has gone on against Daniel Roman, a stoppage defeat against Inoue, and back in September of last year, a split decision win over Carlos Castro. And Castro dropped Fulton, had him shook, and he didn't look the better for wear. Personally, I think that we've seen the best of what Fulton has to offer. Figueroa, though, on the other hand, has a different type of a temperament and a style that will allow him to not only engage, but test the will, what's inside of another fighter. And he does that very well. A great co-main. It could be a main event on a lot of cards. These two facing one another for the second time in 3 years. A third fight on the card. Isaac Cruz against Angel Fierro. My breakdown video yesterday talked about these two. Don't sleep on Fierro. He's going to bring the type of effort that, or he should, from what he's shown in the past. He should bring the type of effort that you would want to see someone present against a fighter of Cruz's ilk. They're both 26 years of age. Fierro's record of 23 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, and 18 KOs. Speaks that he's businesslike. Now Cruz, who's now 26-3 with 1 draw and 18 KOs, has lived high and mightily off of one of those losses. And that was to Gervonta Tank Davis back in December of 2021. The fact that he went the distance with Tank, he gave the impression that he might be a little bit better than what he truly is. Allegedly, Davis hurt his hands in the fight. Who knows if that's true or not? However, his loss against El Rayo back in August of 2024, a split decision loss, by the way. Rayo won that fight unanimously, people. It was not a split decision. But see, a fighter like Pitbull, because he's a brawler, he's an action-first guy. He serves a purpose in boxing and a demographic that has everything to do with inclusion and representation. But he can't box. And he's at a serious detriment when he's in there with fighters who can. So the matchmaking that his managers and promoter have to do with him, they have to put him in situations to showcase him at his best. This Fierro fight could end up like the El Rayo fight. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Fierro has to keep fighting the center of the ring, stay off the ropes, and stay out of the triangle. It's that simple as far as tactically what he needs to do. He can fight his way out of all the other circumstances, but he has to stay out of those positions because that's what's going to give Cruz opportunity. One other fight that's going to be a match worth talking about will be the return to the ring of Jesus Ramos Jr. and Jason Rosario. These two are similar in size. Ramos is 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. Rosario is 5'11" with a 70-inch reach. Rosario's former world champion. Ramos has yet to have a title shot. Rosario returned to the ring back in August of last year against Jared Hearn, where he won a split decision against Hurd. He was stopped in November of 2022 against Brian Mendoza. A tough fight for Rosario at the time. A record of 24-4 with 2 draws and 18 KOs. Banana is now 29, fighting out of the Dominican Republic. He is looking to still contend for a world title shot. It's a good fight. Now Ramos, who's 23 years of age, his record of 21-1 with 17 KOs finds him as a southpaw. With that one loss, a unanimous decision to Erickson Lubin back in September of 2023. He took almost a year off from that fight. Came back against Johan Gonzalez, whom he stopped in 9 rounds. But Rosario is going to present him with a different issue. Totally. Take a quick moment to hear from the brothers with the
Y'all know what it is. It's the Find the Boxer game. Purchase a box for a chance at winning $500. One of 54 boxes has a missing boxer inside. Purchase your box or boxes by Cash Apping $ usual 50/50. Include your box number, name, and email address. Your box number will be confirmed and sent directly to your email. Each box is $20 with a 1 in 54 chance of winning. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
It's a usual suspect day.
y'all know what it is. It's the usual suspect 650-50 draw. Buy your tickets now for your chance at winning half the pot. Cash App, $ usual 50/50. Tickets are on sale for $10 for one, $20 for 3 tickets, and $50 for 10 tickets. Put your desired amount, name or alias, as well as your email address, and your tickets will be set. We announce the winning ticket numbers every other Friday on Supreme Beats Boxing Talk Bullshit on the Beltway, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC, and remember,
It's a usual suspect day.
Yeah. So, since there were people that were a little too busy to join me this evening, that's okay. But I made it through this to talk about Saturday's card. It's one of the best cards that we've seen PBC put on, and it'll be on Amazon Prime pay-per-view. So I'll be trying to tune in. There will be a post-fight for this, and we'll see what happens. But all that talking and swearing at one another and everything is pretty much over now. It's time to get in the ring and get it mixed up. The weigh-in is tomorrow, and the fight is Saturday. I look forward to this. Look forward to it. So with that being said, I'm going to hear from my man, the focus ball, huh? Focus ball.
Get ready to take your striking game to the next level with the Focus Ball. Dramatically improve footwork, timing, head movement, hand-eye coordination, reflex, and overall fight IQ. It's lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere. When you don't have a coach to do mitt work, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a heavy bag to hit, get a Focus Ball. When you don't have a sparring partner, get yourself a Focus Ball. And when you just want to have fun punching and kicking, get a Focus Ball. When you train with the Focus Ball, you train your eyes and your brain to read punches so that you can hit and not get hit, making this very simple device a must-have for all combat sports athletes and enthusiasts alike. So if you want to take your striking game to the next level, don't wait. Get the Focus Ball now.
Yeah. The links are in the description. They're in the chat for anybody interested in purchasing merchandise. I ain't gonna say nothing about showing support because you motherfuckers don't know how to do that. But anyway, I see Thomas out there. Thomas, you said you got your hat. How's the hat? Are you enjoying the hat? Appreciate your support there, Thomas, on merchandise. But I'm done. I've said my piece on this fight. Now there's nothing left to do but to see it take place. And we'll see what happens. Yeah. So, with that being said, I got to get up for work. Peace. I'm out of here.